Hello, my name is Tom Sanford, Executive Director at North Olympic Land Trust, and welcome to the 2022 Farmer of the Year presentation. We're excited to have everyone here together. North Olympic Land Trust is a local community organization that for the last 3 decades has helped to conserve places in this community that matter and mean the most to us, from our habitat, for our economy, for our ways of life. One of the things we do is to help conserve local farmland, and as a result, we have conserved 23 farms over these last 20-some years. Today, we're going to be doing something we normally do at our harvest dinner, the presentation of our Farmer of the Year award. It's going to go to an amazing person, Mark Bowman. Mark is proprietor, along with his wife Nancy, of Bowman Farms in Port Angeles, as well as he's the Sustainable Food Coordinator for the North Olympic Development Council, where he is really there to help connect farms with their farmers. As properties are changing hands, he's there to make sure that the next generation of farmers has access to quality lands and then the business plans to make those things sing. So before we hear more about Mark and his farm, though, I want to pass things over to Scott Chichester. Scott runs Chi's Farm in Sequim. He was our Farmer of the Year 4 or 5 years ago, and he has some things he wants to share with us about the importance of local farmland conservation. Here's Scott.
So I'm Scott Chichester, and I have Chi's Farm in Sequim. I've been farming in the Sequim area for over 20 years now. I spent a bunch of years working with Nash's Organic Produce, and then took a brief stint in British Columbia to help start a farm there, and then came back to Sequim and decided to start my own farm business. And I think we're in year 7 now of Chi's Farm. And we are really happy to be growing organic produce that we can feed the local community with. And we market all of our produce here in Sequim and Port Angeles, and a very tiny bit goes as far as Port Townsend, but mostly we're just really focused on our local community. To me, farming is how we feed ourselves, and it's a beautiful way to spend my time and apply myself to something that I feel really positive about, and that is beneficial to a lot of other people besides me. And over the years, it has become really apparent how special the land and the climate that we have here in the Dungeness Valley are, and it's really changed over my lifetime. Having grown up here, I've seen a lot of our farmland turn into housing, and I realize what a precious resource we have here, and how there's just not very much farmland left, and we have to work hard to try and preserve what we have remaining here and keep it in working farmland, because we're not making any more farmland, and this is some of the best combination of soils and weather and water that you could possibly ever have to grow amazing things with. So around here, one of the things that's really awesome is that we have this fantastic climate that we can grow things even outdoors all year long. But I've also realized that if we employ some greenhouses and high tunnels, we can really diversify what we produce all year long. And so for me, what I've really moved towards and I'm really excited about these days is having almost an acre of covered space now, so that we can grow salad greens and other greens all winter long for sale at our farm stands, and keep people fed all throughout the year. And then one of the exciting side benefits of growing greens during the winter and having that covered space is that during the summer we don't need it for greens, and we can turn it around and have things like tomatoes and peppers and cucumbers and basil and eggplants and all these wonderful hot weather crops that otherwise our kind of cool summers around here don't really allow us to do. So we really benefit a couple of ways in all of the high tunnel additions that we've had so far. And for all of you aspiring tomato growers in our area, if you want to grow tomatoes and you don't have a greenhouse, stick with some cherry tomatoes. Are the best, most reliable. Find a really good south-facing space, and don't try and get them started too early, but stake them up and maybe trellis them and give them lots of airflow, and don't be afraid to prune a little bit so that you can keep the disease pressure low and a lot of light onto the plant so that they can actually ripen those fruits and you don't end up canning green tomatoes in October. So when I was younger, working at Nash's and contemplating whether or not I wanted to stay in agriculture around here, we were pretty fortunate at that time to see several of the parcels that we were farming protected with conservation easements, and it made me realize what a great tool that protection is, because I saw that it gave me as a young farmer a secure land base in an area that otherwise has unsecured lands, and I knew that I would have a place to be able to continue to farm for a lot of years with those conservation easements in place. While I'm currently not farming on any parcels that are protected, I really value the protection that conservation easements provide, and hopefully in the future I might be able to find a place that I could have as an additional acreage that would be protected. Because we have a lot of people who seem to be enjoying our produce, and there's more demand than we really are able to grow for currently. And if you want to try some of our produce, we sell at our farm stand at 142 Town Road in Sequim. It's open every day, all hours on our system. You can also subscribe to our CSA Farm Share program, and we do a spring season and then we do a 20-week summer season. And there are a lot of tomatoes and cucumbers and eggplants involved in that one, as well as our flagship item, which is our salad mix. And then you can find our produce at a few different restaurants around Sequim and Port Angeles, and you shouldn't miss out on shopping at Country Aire because they carry a lot of our in-season produce both during the summer and during the fall-winter seasons.
Hi there, my name is Kelly Sanderbeck, and I'm so honored to talk with you about North Olympic Land Trust and especially their farmland preservation program. I moved to Port Angeles about a year ago, and one of the first things I did was contact the Land Trust because conserving local land is really near and dear to my heart. You see, I spent a big, meaningful part of my life and career working for Washington Farmland Trust. And one of our very first conserved properties was the Delta Farm, home of Nash's organic produce and his amazing carrots. And when I learned that North Olympic Land Trust would be conserving another of Nash's properties, the Dungeness Hub, I just jumped to make a contribution that was significant for me. Because even though I'm not going to be here forever, I'm so grateful that these farms will be. So now some of the farmers that Nash has trained, like Scott of Chai's Farm, and he's one of the next generation of local food producers. And I'm also so grateful for him and all the other farmers around here because I can rely on the experts and I don't have to feed myself from my own little garden. So another thing I recently did was add the land trust to my estate plans. It was really simple because I could just go in and change my beneficiary designation form on one of my 401ks and do it online, and that was easy because I didn't have to call a lawyer or anything. So I'm happy to be part of the Legacy Society. So I do hope that you'll consider joining me as a contribute to some of this new farmland preservation that's coming up. You can visit NorthOlympicLandTrust.org and contribute an amount that's right for you and what brings you joy. So thanks again.
So welcome to Bowman Farms. We're Mark and Nancy Bowman. We've owned this farming operation since 2017, and we're here in Port Angeles. We bought this ranch in 2019. So we raise goats for meat, and we also have some beef cattle on our ranch.
So here we are in the pen with all of our moms. These goats are 2 years to 6 years old. They're ones that we bottle fed at the beginning and then transferred into a breeding program with Boers. So they're all pretty friendly. They like lots of attention, and they are really connected to us. So you can see that you know, there's a whole pecking order, and it's really interesting. I've learned so much in the last few years. So in the spring we have the babies, and that's a pretty exciting time. We usually have 30 to 50 babies born here on the ranch, and the moms feed them and until weaning time, and it's a really cool yearly cycle. So this is what goats look like as they're into everything and wanting attention, and they're all named. Every goat here is named and treated like a pet, and even up until market, we just do our best to really appreciate them and to care for them, and they in turn give back to an important cause of feeding and growing the goat market. So that's what we enjoy about it.
Farming has been in my blood since I was born. I grew up on a farm operation in California, and I've always wanted to be in farming. My dad told me growing up, he said, "Farm the farmer, but don't be a farmer." That was his advice to me. So I took him seriously and have a degree in agricultural business and worked for the Farm Credit System for a number of years and Craft 3, and always done rural economic development, lending, agricultural lending. But I always wanted to get back into farming, and always was looking for ways and opportunities to do that. And over the years, I just noticed that there was a shortage in goat meat that was produced here locally. There was so many ethnic groups that eat goat as a culturally appropriate food, and just saw the gap and thought, well, if there's a market for it here in Western Washington, and it can be grown here on the Olympic Peninsula, why not? So I used that as my impetus to get started in raising goats, and we do wholesale meat for restaurants and grocery stores, so everything is USDA grown and slaughtered that way. So that's our farming operation. So farmland conservation is really important to me personally, just around the transition of farms from one generation to the other. I always feel that agriculture, farmland, farm equipment, farm ranches, all that infrastructure and all that land, it's a community asset, I really feel. And we need to protect that community asset and transfer it from one generation to the other intact, so that a new farmer doesn't have to start from ground zero when they're starting up a farm. Some of those assets are in place and ready for them. So farmland preservation and land preservation are really important for the continuation of a healthy economy and a healthy community. And just feel that we need to really work hard in preserving this farmland, making sure there is adequate water for the farming operations, making sure that the farmers, the new and young farmers getting in, are successful so that they stay in it, and it really closes the loop in the food system. And one of the key components of that is just making sure that our farmland is preserved, and not just preserved, but actually used in farming operations. One of the things I'm really excited about that we did in 2022 with Bowman Farms is we had the opportunity through a USDA grant, the Farm to Food Bank program, was to deliver goat meat to the Forks Food Banks. The Forks Food Bank has quite a growing population, unfortunately, and we just felt that the Forks Food Bank was a really culturally appropriate place to put goat meat. There's a large Honduran and Guatemalan population in Forks, and they would really appreciate the meat being delivered there and have an appreciation for goat meat. So that was a really fun delivery to take out to the Forks Food Bank and to make that happen and to find the right the right fit for as a consumer for the goat products. So in addition to having the farming operation, I am the Sustainable Ag Coordinator for Clallam and Jefferson County, and that means I work with farmers helping them overcome hurdles to growth in their farming operation. And that includes several things. That includes a meeting with the farmers, helping them be successful. It also includes an additional piece of work that we have, which is the Farm to Farmer Coordinator. Farm to Farmer program is a part of Washington Farmland Trust. It helps, it's a product, a platform that helps incoming farmers find land either for lease or buy. It helps existing landowners with their exit strategy, either finding tenants or selling land. And this is a really important component because we want to match up the right landowner with the right tenant in a leasing situation. And we want to make sure that the right person, the right farmer, is buying the right piece of farmland with the right amount of infrastructure and everything that they need to be successful. And the Farm to Farmer program and that platform that you can find really helps coordinate those activities. And my role in that is here in Clallam and Jefferson County, just helping to match those land seekers up with those that are exiting their land. So really work hard to making that match fit and to really, at the end of the day, making sure that this farmland is preserved and transferred from one generation to the next. That is really a key component here to a healthy agricultural system, is making sure that the next generation of farmers can be successful. And the first step to that is making sure that they do have the land and assets and support that they need to make that happen. And with the Farm to Farmer program that I manage and the Sustainable Ag Coordinator position, one of the things that I think is most important is really understanding that we need to close the loop in our food system. We have a lot of young and new farmers that are really getting going, and we want to make sure that they're successful. We're going to need them both in good times and in bad here on the Olympic Peninsula. And it's really important that us as consumers really support our farmers by buying their products and buying locally. This really closes the economic loop. It keeps the dollars here in our community, supports and strengthens our farmers and our food system. If we just look back to this last few years during COVID, grocery stores were running short of product being delivered from outside the area, and a lot of our local farmers really stepped up and filled the gap in our food system here locally. So, and we just can't have that happen and expect that to happen every time when an emergency happens. So in that, we really need to spend our time supporting our local farmers here when times are good and helping them be successful, paying the little bit of additional dollars to buy local, knowing that your product is fresh, where it's grown, how it's grown. And really what that does is by supporting those farmers and strengthening them and knowing that they have market outlets, it really does actually help build the infrastructure of food systems. This gives them the confidence to know that we can set up value-added processing facilities. It lets the meat producers know that we can really look at putting in USDA meat processing here more locally. It helps the farmers know they can grow to a point and really look at bringing in ag labor and supporting ag labor housing. There's just a whole host of things that can happen and does happen when the farmer knows that the consumer and us local buyers are supporting them.
Hello, my name's Tom Sanford, and I'm the Executive Director with North Olympic Land Trust. For the past 24 years, the Land Trust and Friends of the Fields have been presenting an award each year, really wanting to honor community members that have been key in maintaining the sustainable impacts on behalf of our farm community with an award that we call the Farmer of the Year. This award is sought to highlight folks and farms that maintain our community's culture and heritage by providing food and other products that build our community's resilience, health, economy, and environment. Over the past 20 plus years, this award has gone to a lot of farms, including Tom and Holly Clark of Clark's Farm, Nash Huber of Nash's Organic Produce, Scott Chichester of Chai's Farm, Ryan and Sarah McCarthy at Dungeness Valley Creamery, Doug Hendrickson and Lee Bowen from Salt Creek Farm, and last year we had the honor and privilege to give this award to the Jamestown Slalom Tribe's Traditional Foods and Culture program that maintains traditional and practices that for millennia have helped to manage this landscape to both conserve its local environment and health, while also making sure that healthy and local food is available through things like Camas and such that's been going on in this place for millennia. Here in 2022, we are extremely excited to honor with our Farmer of the Year award to an individual who has two jobs supporting our local economy, Mark Bowman. Come on in, Mark. First of all, Mark and his wife Nancy are the owners and operators of Bowman Farms, where we are here today, which you've heard about before already, and is really here providing grass-fed, hormone-free goats for the local community with operations here and in Port Townsend, USDA processed and certified goats which are raised for milk and meat. And then additionally, Mark is the Sustainable Agriculture Coordinator at North Olympic Development Council. And in that role is really there to use his background in rural economic development and community lending to help farms move from keeping the thing going to really thriving. And in particular, Mark has a lot of skill in that area where it comes to transitioning a farm from its current owner who's maybe been on it for 50 years or has a lease in place to a new farmer who is coming in as the emerging face of the diversity of farms that are really going to be the future of our community. We at the Land Trust are so excited to work side by side with Mark in a deep, deep partnership to make sure that as you look forward 10, 20, 50, 70 years, the role of agriculture in this place is going to fit with our vision of a just, healthy community, full of a vibrant farm community that together we're just helping to facilitate and make happen. And really following the leadership of some of these just amazing emerging farmers. And so with that, I am excited to present the 2022 Farmer of the Year Award to Mark Bowman. It says on here, in recognition of your leadership in supporting local farms in reaching their full potential. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I know Mark would love to say a few more words, but I present the award to Mark Bowman.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Of course. Let me take my piece of paper out from behind it.
Thank you very much. I want to thank North Olympic Land Trust and the community for nominating me and recognizing Nancy and I in the work that we do here at Bowman Farms, trying to support the community and provide more local meat into the community. And just also the work that we're trying to accomplish here through North Olympic Development Council and with Washington Farmland Trust through their Farm to Farmer program. There is a lot to do, and I'm just excited to be a part of this and to be a part of seeing the transition and supporting all these farmers and farm-related businesses. It's work that's never going to end. There's always something more to be done. But and year to year you look at it and think, wow, what progress will we make? But when you look back over 5, 10, 15 years, the changes and the transitions and the progress, and it's just you really look back and reflect on all the farmers that have, and farm businesses and entities that have received this award prior to myself, and just realize that, you know, there's a lot of great people doing a lot of great stuff here to support our food system and to support our economy and our culture. So I'm really excited to receive this and very honored, and look forward to seeing who's going to be a part of receiving this award in 2023. Thank you.
So a huge congratulations to Mark Bowman, Bowman Farms, North Olympic Development Council, the Farm to Farmer program. We are so excited to have you be our Farmer of the Year this year and continue an amazing legacy for farmland here in Clallam County. We hope you enjoyed your time. We hope you are inspired to be a part of what it takes to keep agriculture a core part of this place. If you go back to the 1940s, we had 75,000 acres of farmland across Clallam County. 75% of that is gone. We're at about 17,000 acres today, but it is enough to sustain a working farm economy, to provide the food for this place, but we need to make sure that the farms that are left remain available for farming, and together we can do that. So thank you for all of your work. And together we will do some great things. Again, if you're interested in supporting our current fundraising efforts for farmland conservation, and there's 2 farms at the top of the list right now, Mid Valley Farm and the Dungeness Hub, you can head on over to northolympiclandtrust.org, and it's very easy to support from there. And with that, I'd like to thank Mark Bowman, Nancy Bowman, Scott Chichester, and for being a part of this, and of course to Kelly Sanderbeck. All right, have a great evening, everybody.